Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe, where you can get your morning dose of astrology, human design, and maybe, if time, we'll pull an oracle card today. Happy March and happy full moon day. Lots going on today, right? You know, they always say that if March comes in like a lion, then it goes out like a lamb. Well, I think the opposite is happening here today. March is coming in a little bit lammy, which means hopefully that, well, I guess it means that it wouldn't go out so lammy as it would go out like a lion. So I'm afraid to say that we're not done with winter yet. Doo-dah. Well, it's okay. The nice thing about having a lot of rain is that it's extraordinarily green around here and stays that way until well into the summer, which we like. So I hope everybody's doing well this morning. I've already reached out and talked to a couple of people who are totally noticing the energy change out there, whether it's because of the moon's change from Leo yesterday into Virgo, or just the fact that the full moon building up to our being able to release something, to bring something into completion, to let go, to have an aha moment or an epiphany. Either way you look at it, the full moon. Good morning, Michelle. Good to see you out there. And I see other people out there too. It looks like that's Michelle Brooks. Good morning, Michelle Brooks. Good morning, Roseanne and Michelle. So I'm not sure where everybody else is. Is it a sleepy kind of morning? I know I did not want to get up this morning. I was busy having a dream. Now I don't remember what it was, but it seemed profound at the time I was having the dream. And I guess the time will tell as we go through the day. So let's talk about some other things that are going on. Remember yesterday I showed you, good morning, Katie. Good to see you out there. Remember yesterday morning I showed you this interesting chart of what the full moon was going to look like, right? The bucket handle being up here at the top, right there, and the bucket itself holding all of the energies down at the bottom. Well, unbelievably, it makes for a highly energetic day. And it might be energetic as in disruptive for some people. And the only reason I would say that is because this morning the sun and Uranus are doing a dance that's a little bit rebellious, a little bit sort of impatient. But we've been dealing with some of the impatience things all week anyway. So that shouldn't be anything new. So really just being able to watch what you say and watch what you do. Try not to take any actions that are disruptive if you can, or things that you're doing just for the sake of being a rebel or hurting somebody's feelings or hurting something. That just doesn't help. Doesn't help at all. There's Roseanne. I see her now. Good morning, my friend. How are you this morning? It should be a nice day wherever you are. So the full moon brings us to these times of closure. What are we letting go of, right? What are we letting go of, or what are we preparing to open up to? Because this brings Luna into the fullness of her cycle, right? The beauty of the full moon is that she dominates the night as the sun dominates the day. So we have a lot of energy sitting there for us all day long and all night long. I mean, all you have to do is try to go to sleep with the full moon shining in your bedroom window, and you know what I mean. It doesn't get very dark, especially if you have a clear night. So what is all of that illumination bringing us to? So I kind of wanted to go to human design this morning. So I was spending some time looking up where the moon is going to be, what gate is the moon in at the time of the full moon, which for us on the West Coast happens at 4:52 p.m. this afternoon. And if you are on the East Coast, that happens at 7:52 p.m. your time. And if you're in England or in Europe, it's going to happen just as we move into the morning at 52 minutes into March 2nd. So you see a pattern there. Everybody's at the end of 52. Natasha, yes, school was interesting yesterday. That I believe, because you know what? The kids are like these pure broadcasters of what the energy is. If you're a school teacher, you have quick and easy access to what the heck is going on. You may not know the specifics, but you know there's something up because the kids are behaving badly or good, or things are just sparkling in the schools, right? And that's because the kids are kind of pure broadcasters of whatever energy is coming up. If they, in their human design, have defined centers, they're already broadcasting. But if they have open centers, then they're picking up all the energy from everyone around them and they're broadcasting. So what you have are full energetic kids through the school, which also, by the way, translates over to you teachers or you parent educators, because you're also picking up all that energy and turning it around and rebroadcasting it, whether it's your own or not. So it's an interesting ecosystem, if you will, to observe. Even if you're in a corporation situation or any other kind of institution, for example, if you're working in a hospital or in a large doctor's office or something, you know when the moon is full, and you probably know when the moon is new as well, because there are more sick people, perhaps more crazy people, or more people displaying crazy behaviors. I don't mean to call them crazy, but crazy behaviors, things they wouldn't normally be. Or the ones who do have, mental health issues are sometimes triggered by the moon's transits. So there's no mistaking that the moon has an effect on us. Natasha's saying, yes, 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 because she works in the schools. She knows. Excuse me. So let me hide that comment for a second. So, you can see the sun is coming out. It's on my face. It's going to show up every wrinkle I have. I'm just kidding. So really, when we are looking at the full moon, it's all about what is being revealed to us. Is it something coming from the depths, something that we haven't wanted to look at perhaps? Or is it something truly that we can let go of, like the noose around your neck that you just want to take off and put over there, or hide it, burn it, something? Because this is a good time for releasing. And what is it you're releasing? Well, that's hard to say. Right? It's going to be different for everybody. The full moon, the moon part of it. Michelle lives maybe, 30 miles, if that, from me, and it's raining at her house, but it's sunny at my house, so much so it's blinding me, sort of. I opened my drape because, guess what? It's getting light earlier in the morning, and I love the light. It helps get me going. But unfortunately, if the sun's going to come out, that's east, and it's in my face. So now you know how I'm situated in my house. So looking at the human design gate then can give us a little bit of more information about what is happening for us. And so here we are, really only 10 miles, Michelle. It just seems like you're far away because you're up there in the mountains. So the gate 64 is playing host for this full moon. And because it's the full moon, it also means that the Earth is sitting at the same gate, right? Because the Earth is in opposition always to the sun, and the moon is now in opposition to the sun at the full moon. So we have gate 64. So I looked gate 64 up because in my estimation, gate 64 is one of the gates in the very top head, right? It's gate 64 comes off what would be the right eye in the chart. Let me see, do I have a chart sitting close at hand here that I could show you? Yeah, but it has people's names all over it. Let's see if I can do this. Sort of like this. Okay. So you see right here is the head center. Woo, move my pen right there. And gate 64 is up here at the very, which this person absolutely had gate 64 defined. Let's see if I can bring it in. Gate 64 up there. And remember, I often say that the gates in the heads are called, the gates in the head, we call the gates of madness, because it really gets us into this thinking pattern, right? Well, the thinking pattern in gate 64 is all about confusion. This is a gate, when you have it defined, that information, resources often just drop in on you whole and complete. And then it causes you to try to figure out, what do I do with all of this, right? It is literally called the gate of confusion when it's operating in its lowest scheme, the shadow, as Richard Rudd would put it. It is the gate of confusion, or it is the gene key that represents humankind's confusion. In that when we are connected to source, the people that have the gate 64 defined, and now everybody's going to have gate 64 defined because the full moon and Earth are sitting there, and the Earth will be there all week, not just not just today. It begins today and lasts for the next 6 days. And so all of us will have a bout of confusion where we have these really great big concepts that come up to us, but what do we do with them? And it forces us to try to get into our minds and to try to figure things out. And that is, of course, the wrong way for us to go with this. What happens literally in this gate is if you allow it to sit, and it'll just sort of transmute from confusion to illumination, which is the highest expression of the energy in this gate. In the meantime, you can sit with the gift in this one, which is imagination. Good morning, Jennifer. How are you? I hope everybody's doing well. For some reason, I still have this frog in my throat. It's a springtime frog, I guess. He doesn't want to leave me alone. So in human design, then, this full moon is really heralding the beginning of a new week, the beginning of a new energy signature. The sun will be in gate 63, also in the head, just at the other side, and it's the gate of doubt. And it's also the gate of truth in its highest expression. So we have some kind of weirdish energies going on this week as we move into this full moon. Sort of reveals to us perhaps the error in our thinking behaviors, the way perhaps that we get into our heads too often, and then we go round and round and round trying to figure out something, and we're not designed to do that, right? Your mind is better used for imagination. Your mind is better used for visualization, for the things that you want to have happen, not for worry, not for doubt, not for suspicion, not for self-doubt. What else? Not for confusion. If you're feeling confused, guess what? You've had a download. And guess what? It's only a matter of time before the confusion turns into an epiphany, a revelation. So getting into your head and using it for negative purposes is absolutely not the direction you want to go. Why? Because what you think about persists, and what you think about is what you're actually manifesting over time. Thank God we don't manifest it in the immediate, because that would be a bad thing. But over time, if your thoughts are consistently on what you don't want, do you think you're really going to get what you do want? Or are you going to keep seeing out there the results of what you don't want? Craziness, right? It's all about what we keep our focus on. And if you are like me and emotionally defined, then you also tie an emotion with what you're thinking. And so now your thinking, your mental and your emotional bodies are tied together, and you are sitting in a place of creation that's very powerful. Jennifer says, yes, I've been trying to drop back into my heart center. That's a great place to be. And so, yes, we have a mind and we are meant to think. We are not meant to get into the more negative expressions of that thinking, which are the mental, it's really kind of mental fatigue that we end up in after a while. And that mental fatigue then is something that causes us maybe depression, or causes us to give up on our dreams. And that does not serve you or humanity. So get out of your head, get down into your body. I had a discussion with another client yesterday who's very mind-oriented, definitely, but is intuition authority. So meaning her spleen, if you're not familiar with as much with human design, the spleen for her is defined, which means she's meant to use her intuition in making decisions. And the intuition in human design speaks in the moment. That in her case, she's a manifesting generator. So she's waiting for something to respond to in her outer world. And the moment there's something to respond to, her intuition is saying, uh-huh, or like no way, or yes, give me that. And that's a very difficult concept when you also have your head defined, because your head says it can't be that easy. It can't be that easy. You can't have the answer that easy, right? You didn't list all the pros and cons. You didn't go through the nightmare of worry and trying to figure out solutions. So the mind is telling you the wrong stories, while your other energy centers are telling you the more correct story. If you're defined emotionally then the emotions are telling you the correct thing. But you only can tap into the emotional energy, the correctness of it over time, because emotions have a kind of flow to them. They're highs and they're lows and all points in between. So you have to sort of wait out your emotional wave before you make a decision. So my friend, who is a manifesting generator with her spleen as her authority, is designed to be spontaneous, where a generator like me with emotional authority is not designed to be spontaneous. We must wait and make decisions with clarity over time. I love this discussion of human design and blending this with astrology, because I think it completes the picture of what's going on. Right now, we're being pulled to be in our heads, but our heads are really not the place for us to make decisions from, because of the crazy energies of confusion and doubt and suspicion. And, really, do we want to make decisions from there? No, because every time I think I have the answer, then my mind is going to get involved and go, oh, well, let's compare and contrast that. Let's analyze that one more time. And you got to remember, this full moon is in Virgo. Virgo does love to analyze. And I don't want you there, right? You can analyze all you want, but don't make decisions from that analysis. Make decisions from where your authority is. And if you don't know what your authority is, then you need to get your human design chart. I'm thinking that I want everybody, if you don't have this, get it from me. Go to my website, living-astrology.com, and get it. Get your regular astrology chart. You can get it for free. It says get free natal chart, and get your human design chart. So when we sit down in the morning and we have these discussions, you can look at your own charts and you can be going, oh yeah, well, I don't have those gates. So now the moon is sitting there. Today I may be very tempted to get into my head. And when we are talking about the moon in the morning astrology, you could see, well, my moon is over here in Leo and the moon is in Leo today. So chances are I'm going to be a little more emotional, right? Because the moon is transiting past my own moon. So I think there's something to be said about having your own charts right in front of you to do this. And if you're listening to this broadcast later on in the day, you could still do the same thing, have your charts available. So get your human design chart by going to my website, get your free natal chart by going to my website, or doing it in any way in which you know how to get it, and have it in front of you when we have these conversations. I think it would be very helpful, and it would help you understand yourself better. All right. Does anyone feel crazy, or is it just me? I would say there's a high probability that there's lots of people out there feeling crazy, Roseanne. I don't think you're alone in that. And I think people may not feel so crazy right now in this moment, but maybe at alternate times throughout the day today feeling it that way. For example, when I looked at my chart this morning, the moon is at 5 degrees of Virgo, which means it's sitting right on top of my Pluto. And in just an hour or two, it's going to be around 8 degrees Virgo, which is where my natal moon is. So I can already feel like there's this sort of powerful thing moving through me. I'm not sure what it is. It could end up being crazy, but it could also end up moving me in a powerful direction. I just kind of feel it moving through me. Again, the beauty of having your own chart in front of you so that you can go, oh, wow, that's amazing. I'm going to have a Jupiter return in next week or something like that. So, and then we can talk about the different things that are happening for you. Let's see. Natasha says she too likes the balance of both astrology and human design. Both have their gifts, and it sure unlocks the path. And then, like with me, I also bring in the intuitiveness, and that helps too. Absolutely. By the way, everybody has all of the human design. So even though you might have a spleen, which represents your health, intuition, survival instincts, as well as time, even though you may have it open and not defined, it doesn't mean that you don't have access to those energies. It never means that at all. It just means if it's open in your chart, meaning it would be white, it's more inconsistent, less consistent, right? It means that you're not always able to trust your intuition, especially if your authority is in the emotional center. That's what you can trust, your emotions, because your intuition is going to turn off and on based on planets that are transiting or people that you happen to be sitting with. So you always want to go to what's defined in your chart, because that tells you what it is that you're broadcasting, what's authentic for you. But then, as I told another client this week, it is a juicy exercise to go to the gene keys and look up all of your defined gates and look exactly at what it is you are broadcasting, right? Because sure enough, you're broadcasting something through that center to everybody. And what is it that you're broadcasting, right? If you have the gate 55, which is the gate of abundance, are you truly broadcasting the energy of abundance? Or are you broadcasting a lack of abundance? Are you broadcasting the need for having to work more on issues around faith and being supported in this world? So lots of really good things if you have your charts for you to use as self-inquiry. Lovely, lovely stuff. So I hope everybody enjoys the full moon today. I certainly am going to tap into it. Maybe everybody just about 10 or 15 minutes before the full moon in whatever time zone you're in occurs. You might want to tap in and see, what is it I'm in the midst of completing? What is being revealed to me in this moment? What direction might be being revealed to you? And let's see, there was something else I wanted to tell you about today. I know. I wanted to give a quick update around March, because here's March 1st, right? It's in our face. We've been graced for a while now with no planets in retrograde motion, but that's quickly coming to an end as Jupiter next Thursday, the 8th, turns retrograde. She will be retrograde from March 8th through July 10th. So our energy of expansion and growth that has been mainly playing out in the outer world is going to be turning much more to the inner planes, where we're going to be growing with different ideas, maybe a new inner optimism, but it might be a little more difficult to take action in the outer world on some of that growth. There may be some things you have to do internally in order to be able to accomplish that on the outer world. We have Mercury coming up to retrograde. In fact, today we are already in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. So if things are wonky, your thoughts, transportation, communication, your computer, now you know why, right? Mercury is slowing down. It will actually move retrograde on the 22nd and will be retrograde all the way through tax day, April 15th. And it will be firmly in the sign of Aries. So what's really going to be spotlighted for us is all of the energies around standing up on one's own 2 feet, being independent, self-sufficient, being bold, not taking action necessarily in a bold way, but looking at what would be the boldest expression, what would shake me out of my reverie and get me moving, right? Because Aries being the home of, or being ruled by Mars, there's action to be had, just not right away, right? In Mercury, with Mercury retrograde, we don't start anything new, but we can see what things are potentially new directions for us to open up to. So all in all, I think March is going to be a good month. It's another month where we will have a blue moon, because the full moon is today, and then also on the 31st. These long months are the ones that get us into this pattern of, on the 1st we have a full moon, and then on the last day of the month we have another full moon. So that'll be an extraordinary adventure as we have 2 opportunities to let go and let God, and some fun we'll have with that one, I'm sure. All right, everyone. By the way, Jupiter's retrograding from 23 Scorpio back to 13 degrees Scorpio. So if you know your own natal chart, whatever degree span that is where you will be reconsidering, looking at new, perhaps, ways in which growth can happen for you after the retrograde is over, etc. But remember, Scorpio is also secrets and patterns, and what will that reveal to us? What on the inner planes might be stopping the whole idea of growth? So we'll have some fun looking at that. All right, everybody. Well, that's all I have for you this morning. I hope everybody has a great day. Enjoy the sunshine if it's there. Enjoy the rain if you have that. In whatever place you find yourself, enjoy your day. Release and be so surprised by what gets revealed for you. And I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Love you all. Bye-bye.